Bev, so to start a new project and recording and invite other people, what you need to do is open up Riverside. Usually it'll open up on this page, and you can see on the left hand side here we've got the home option. Now you can do things straight from this, but I'm going to go into projects and start a new project. So if you click on projects on the left hand side, and then up in the top right there's a purple add new button. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to give this a title. So I'm just going to call it first Riverside test video. Now, I'd recommend that once you get going with doing the proper recordings, you name that by the episode number. So say 01 Jamie Snow podcast, or whatever it's going to be called. Keeping organised with this sort of stuff is so important. So I've named that. And then I'm going to choose, I could schedule and invite guests, or I could go straight into record or live stream. So I'm going to schedule and invite guests. Okay, so I'm going to do this test in a minute, and I'm going to give it a session name. So I'll just call it main interview. And again, if this was an episode number, I'd probably put something like episode 01 before. So always name that, and then it just makes it easier. You can spot all the files that are relevant to that YouTube video in your case. Okay, I'm going to do it for 11 a.m, which is in a couple of minutes, but that's absolutely fine. Keep the time to your local time. So obviously that will be Australia. And then you can invite people. So this is where you would invite Maya or Ray or Andy or whoever else is going to be speaking on it. So I'm just going to add a couple of email addresses here. Okay, and so I put the email address in, and we get this pops up, and I click on the little add button. And by the looks of it, they automatically send an email with instructions on how to join the video, which is very useful. You could put a description in if you wanted to say interview about the day of the crime. But I mean, in a way, just sort of fill that in as if you were writing an email to somebody, really, just to confirm the session, that sort of thing. Okay. We won't bother with any of those at the moment. It does, sorry, my alarm going off. It does, I will discuss with you about pre-recorded content, because there are very strict rules on eBay about using that, and your videos can get pulled down immediately if something is deemed to be copyright, but I won't bother with that now. Okay, so I've set that up, and I'm going to create session. Date and time must be in the future. I've just lapsed over 11 a.m. So I'll have to change it to 11:15 a.m. Okay, and I'm going to do create session. Okay, so there we go. So it's all scheduled. I don't use Google Calendar, so I'm not going to be using that. And I'm just going to, you could have set an end time as well. Always set it a little bit longer than you think the interview is going to take. But I'm just doing a quick test, so I just left it as the set 45 minutes. I'm going to click on the little cross. Okay, so now if I was doing this and it was actually, say, in a few days' time, then obviously I would have come out my computer, come back in on the day of the recording. And again, you'll probably end up going back and opening at the home page. So then on the day that you're ready to do your recording, again, you come back over to projects. And you can see here we've got our test video, and it's actually very helpfully got the date of the session on. So I'm just going to click on this, and we can see here that we have a scheduled session. Now then, it's due to start in about a quarter of an hour, but I'm actually just going to make it start now by clicking on start session. But usually, obviously, if you're arranging interviews with people, you tend to stick pretty much to the time. You'd probably sort of go into it a few minutes before the session starts. I'll just have a look out of interest what's under these little... Oh, okay, that's just, yeah, that's fine. So I am going to start this session now. Now, I will go through all the settings with you because audio needs to be recorded at a certain sample rate, and video needs to be recorded at a certain frame rate, and everybody needs to record at the same rate. Otherwise, you'll have a big problem editing videos together. So we'll set all that up so you don't have to do that each session. So yeah, I'll do that as a separate video. So basically now I'm going to click on start session, although it would help if I had my iPhone set up as the camera. So I'm just going to quickly plug that in. Okay, so I'm going to trigger this session to start. Okay, so first of all, it's come up with a message. Now, this won't always come up, this Google Chrome one. On all Apple devices, when you're using some form of app or service that has any relation to media, Apple will ask you this question. So do you want it to find devices on your local networks? A lot of the time I say no, unless it's like a streaming app like BBC or Netflix or something. As I'm new to Riverside, I'm going to say allow for this because I can take the permission away later if I so wish. So I'm going to click on allow. Okay. Now, so the first time, I don't think this is going to come up every time you do it, but the first time that you do a session, again, you've got to give permissions to use your camera and microphone. Again, Apple being super secure, which is a good thing. So I'm going to click on allow permissions. So this is then, this little window that comes up here is Apple, and it's asking, do you want Google Chrome to have access to your microphone? And you need to say yes, allow. And then it'll do exactly the same with the camera. I'm going to say allow. Okay. So at the moment it's using my webcam, which actually I might just use for today instead of my iPhone. But if you were using your iPhone, you can drop down, use this drop down bit and choose the phone. At the moment it's, there we go. But I think just for ease of use for this, I'm just going to use the FaceTime camera. And at the moment, because I've not got a microphone here with me, I'm just going to use my AirPods Pro. Obviously, I wouldn't really record with those. But again, you can use whatever drops down. When you've got your Samsung USB mic plugged into your Mac, it'll show up here, and that's the one that you choose. So you could choose allow while visiting the site or allow this time. I'm going to choose allow while visiting the site so I don't have to give that permission every time I do a Riverside session. If you chose allow this time, then you'd have to give the permissions each time you use it. So I'm going to choose allow while visiting the site. Okay. So Riverside wants to show notifications. I would allow that because if somebody's trying to access a session, you might get messages about it if there's an issue. So I would allow that. Again, that one shouldn't come up again. Okay, so let's check your mic and cam. So because I'm using AirPods, I am using headphones. You always want to be using headphones when you're recording video. I will go through you, not in this video, but I'll go through with you regarding headphone usage. The headphones that you've just bought, I wouldn't wear those on camera. Wear them to get set up and then swap for either a pair of Bluetooth headphones and maybe even just one, or if you've got little earbuds with the wires, those would be fine as well. Just because the big headphones don't look great on camera, they take up quite a bit. So I'll go through that properly when I speak to you, probably tomorrow. Obviously, it wouldn't usually be me as the host. Obviously, Maya's name if she's on screen, or your own name if it's you. And I'm going to choose I'm using headphones. So I'm just checking here again. So the camera is using the FaceTime camera, which is the one on the MacBook. The microphone is using, at the moment, my 17 Pro Max. I'm going to change that back to AirPods for now. And the headphones are using AirPods. So that's fine. I mean, I wouldn't usually record with AirPods, obviously, but for this test, it's fine. Now, when I come to do the test with you, I'll join as a producer, so I won't actually be on screen. But most of the time, you will be doing it this way. And then you just click on Join Studio. Okay, so then, excuse me, you've got yourself there and then the guest person. So what I'm now going to do is I've sent a link to my dad's MacBook, and I'm just going to hopefully get that link. I should find it. I'm not sure if that has set actually. So I'm going to, it said that it was automatically sending, but he's not had an email. So I'm going to copy this link, and then I'm going to go into emails, and if I just use this and dad's, I'll just put our link, and I'm just going to paste that in there. Obviously, if you were sending this to somebody, you could put a bit more information and send that. So I'll just wait for that to come through on my dad's computer. Just out of interest, while I'm waiting for this email to come through, you can see this is using the webcam on my MacBook. It's not very good. Can you see it keeps in all the areas sort of around the all the background areas around me? It's kind of fuzzy, and they're not good cameras, unfortunately. Now the newest one might have a slightly better camera, but I believe they're still not all that great. So I think using your iPhone would be preferable. Okay, so the emails come through to my dad's computer, so I'm just going to click on the link and see what happens. I'm presuming I'm going to have to get him to, well, actually, I'm going to have to download Chrome on his computer. Neither of us use Chrome or used Chrome. Or will it work on a different browser when you're not doing the recording? Would be interesting to know. Well, they might not have to download a different browser possibly, so that's cool. There is if you've got somebody that's been interviewed regularly, there is actually an app that you can download onto Macs. I presume there will be one for Windows as well, and that might be worth, if somebody's doing it regularly, downloading that. Yeah, so it's wanting me to either download the Mac app or download Chrome. So I'm just quickly downloading that. I could stop the video here, but I might as well just keep it going for a minute just so you can see the other camera connecting, and then I will do a test and do you different videos on how to do other things. So Ray and Andy and anybody else that you're interviewing will have to create a free account. They don't have to do the paid version though. So I'm just going to, don't have an account, quickly sign it up. Okay, just signing up an account on my dad's computer. Downloading Chrome. we're waiting for that to download. There is the option as well, if you had two people in the same room that you were recording, then okay, cool. Sorry, that was just my brother's been flying into the country. We've had a bad storm. So yeah, you could choose that option, record somebody next to you, but you'd need a second microphone for that and that sort of thing. I don't suppose you'll often be doing that, but you never know, you might be. Most of the time you'll be using this. There is the option here, you might have noticed, to add somebody as a producer. So that would be, if I was in on a recording, I'd be as a producer, so I wouldn't be on screen. I'd just be dealing with the tech side of things. So you get some slightly different link from the guest. Most of the time it'd be guest. You can also live stream. So you could do a live stream sometime to YouTube, but wait till you know what you're doing before you go ahead and do that. But there is that option as well. So it's quite it's quite good. Right, Google Chrome has just downloaded, so I'll just quickly install it. Install. I will install Google Chrome for you when I set your MacBook up, but do not make it your default browser. I would not recommend doing that on a Mac. I'll explain that to you when I set up your Mac. Okay, right. Sign into Chrome. So I've clicked on the email link that we copied here, and I'm opening it up in Google Chrome. I'll do some instructions for Ray and for Andy and whoever else might be joining that you can just then send to everybody. You could attach it to each email that you do a scheduled session with. Okay, so it's come up on my dad's computer. I'll try and show you. It might not be that easy to do. So this is my dad's little MacBook. So that's what it's come up with. So welcome to Rachel Riggs Studio. And that will actually say the name of your YouTube channel. So Jamie Snow's YouTube channel, or whatever its name will be. So if this was Ray or Andy or somebody, then they just click on the next button. And then we should get a second picture come up, I think. So again, it's just in the permission thing for the first time on my dad's computer. So allow permissions, allow. And I'm going to use Face ID, camera, and the built-in yep. Allow visiting sites. So they get the thing to enter their name, which they need to do. So I'm just going to put my mum's name, because in a minute she, bless her, is going to be sat in the other room with dad's computer. And you can put the email in. I wouldn't bother. Again, they need to use headphones. The problem is, if you don't use headphones when you're recording video and somebody else is on there, what happens is their audio comes out of your speakers, goes back through your microphone, and you get a bit of a loop and the sound will be terrible. So they will need to use headphones. They can be wireless AirPods or something similar, or the sort of little wired buds. They don't have to be really expensive ones for this, but they must use headphones. And although in this example on my dad's computer, my mum won't be using them, but I'm literally just using it to connect up and go through the process rather than actually do a recording. Okay, so I've chosen that, put the name in. They will click on I am using headphones, and then there's a purple join studio button. And you can practice this with Maya. And in fact, if you at some point, if you have both computers in the same room, then you'll be able to see how it works. In fact, you could do that yourself with your PC, and I'll explain that to you tomorrow. Okay, so I'm going to join the studio. And then we should, I think on my screen, so Yvonne Rigg is in the lobby, so you then have to let them in, because obviously you don't want some random person appearing. So I'm going to click on the little tick, and it will be two versions of me at the moment. And we're getting a bit of a feedback because the computer's next to me. And my mum has very kindly offered to help for a few minutes with this. So she's just taking Dad's computer through to another room. Now then, the volume here is the volume that you hear of the other people. It doesn't affect the recording. So if somebody's a bit too loud, you can pull it down. So can you hear me okay, Mum? Yeah. The picture's not great, and it's because of our internet connection. It can't take two feeds at the same time, but it's fine just for me to test this.